dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We're coming up on 6 a.m. this morning, and today is a first alert weather day. So let's send it over to meteorologist Mace Michaels.
Hi there, Madison. Scattered showers and thunderstorms moving through the area now. First alert weather day due to the pockets of heavy rainfall this morning and more thunderstorms that are possible later on this afternoon. A little bit of small hail and brief gusty winds possible with the storms this morning. And then, as I mentioned, isolated flash flooding due to the pockets of heavy rainfall with any of the storms throughout the day. London, Corbin, yeah, you're wet. There's the storms moving through, 71 degrees. Here in Hazard, the rain starting to move in. Cloudier skies. We've seen flashes of lightning on and off throughout the area throughout this morning. Radar coming up. It's 65 in Clintwood, 67 in Grundy. Everywhere else here is in the 70s, and it is humid with those storms moving through. Here's a look at radar. You can see over the past 6 hours, the storms have been dropping from Louisville and Lexington right across and into our area. So you're waking up to pockets of heavy rainfall this morning. Lots of lightning from just north of Williamsburg, extending through London and Corbin, Manchester, the front line of storms from Hazard up through Paintsville to near Louisa. These storms continuing to drop to the south and east. Temperatures into the 80s for later this afternoon, Madison. Heavy rainfall on the way at times.
All right, Mace, thank you. Authorities in the UK are trying to figure out the motive behind a brutal knife attack in northwest England. The tragedy happened Monday at a Taylor Swift-themed workshop at a dance school in the coastal community of Southport. Police say at least 2 children were killed and 9 others were injured, some critically. A 17-year-old suspect who lived about 5 miles away from the incident and was originally from Wales and has been arrested on charges of murder and attempted murder. New U.S. Secret Service Acting Director Ronald Rowe will face tough questions from a Senate committee today over the July 13th assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. According to excerpts of his testimony obtained by CBS News, he's expected to tell lawmakers that he cannot defend why the roof where the gunman opened fire was not secured. CBS News' Leah Mishkin has more from London.
Barely a week into the job, Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe will take the hot seat on Capitol Hill. According to excerpts obtained by CBS News, Rowe will say he visited the site of the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, and that, quote, "What I saw made me ashamed." He's also expected to say that he's directed his agency to, quote, "ensure every event site security plan is thoroughly vetted by multiple experienced supervisors before it's implemented." Today's hearing comes as newly released police text messages show that officers were aware of the gunman, Thomas Crooks, at least 105 minutes before he opened fire. That's more than 30 minutes earlier than previously reported.
There were multiple opportunities for this individual to be encountered by law enforcement.
At 4:27 p.m., one counter sniper texted his colleagues that the shooter knows you guys are up there, referring to the building he just left. At 5:38 p.m. in a different group chat, an officer sent a picture of Crooks and says, "I did see him with a rangefinder looking towards the stage." That officer spoke to ABC News yesterday.
I assumed that there would be somebody coming out to speak with this individual.
But 33 minutes later, the shooter still had a clear line of sight of the stage when he shot at Trump. The local SWAT team says they never spoke to Secret Service until after the assassination attempt.
There should have been communication with the local police, which there wasn't, so that's a bad thing.
The FBI says Trump has agreed to sit down for a victim interview to describe what he saw that day. Leah Mishkin, CBS News.
Former President Trump says that FBI interview will take place on Thursday. Meanwhile, a U.S. House panel has launched its own probe into the assassination attempt with subpoena power. It's still unclear if former President Donald Trump plans to debate Kamala Harris. Monday, in a Fox News interview, he said he would probably end up debating Harris, but then he also said he could make a case for not doing it. When asked why, Trump said because voters already know everything about both candidates. Trump previously agreed to debate Biden a second time in September on ABC. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance is set to hold 2 campaign rallies in Nevada today. Vance's visit is the first to Nevada since he was nominated 2 weeks ago. WYMT's national correspondent Josh Woltenberg has the story.
On Tuesday, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance will get the chance to introduce himself to voters in one of the nation's key battleground states. Former President Donald Trump's running mate is scheduled to talk at Liberty High School in Henderson in the afternoon before heading north to speak at the Reno Sparks Convention Center. According to the Trump-Vance campaign, quote, as vice president, J.D. Vance will help President Trump fight to ease the financial pressures placed on households and reestablish law and order in Nevada. Vance's visit is happening as he faces criticism about past comments he has made about women, including Vice President and presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris.
With the Vice President leading our party as our nominee, she's the most prepared and qualified person to defeat Donald Trump, to govern into the future, and people are behind that. They're excited about it.
Nevada Representative and Congressional Black Caucus Chair Stephen Horsford recognizes the historic launch of Harris's campaign, but says Democrats are not taking anything for granted. Now, according to The Hill, average polling shows Trump leading Harris by nearly 9 points in Nevada. In Washington, I'm Josh Roltenberg.
A federal judge has struck down part of Florida's so-called Stop Woke Act, saying one provision violates free speech rights. The judge issued the ruling last Friday. Governor Ron DeSantis signed the legislation into law in 2022. It restricted workplace trainings about race. Several Florida businesses challenged the law. The judge who made the decision had temporarily blocked the law from taking effect in 2022. And on Friday, he issued a permanent ban, saying the law violates the First and 14th Amendments to the Constitution. A blow to the Biden administration's mission to combat junk fees. A federal appeals court has temporarily blocked a new Department of Transportation rule requiring airlines to disclose their fees up front, along with airfare, pending a review. The judges sided with the airline industry in the ruling, saying the regulations may exceed the DOT's authority. The department has said the rules stop consumers from getting hit with surprise fees. The FDA has approved a first-of-its-kind blood test for colon cancer. The Shield test is approved for screening in adults 45 and older who have an average risk of colon cancer. It looks for DNA fragments from tumor cells and precancerous growths with an 83% accuracy rate in clinical trials. According to the American Cancer Society, 53,000 people will die of colorectal cancer this year, and less than 60% follow screening guidelines.
But any step that we can do to make an early diagnosis to bring more people to screening for colon cancer is a step in the right direction.
Doctors warn this non-invasive test is not a replacement for colonoscopies and cannot detect polyps. Any positive test would then require a colonoscopy. Fibroids can be a painful tumor, but there are ways to figure out if you are dealing with it. Fibroids are tumors that grow in the walls of the uterus. While most are non-cancerous and some are even asymptomatic, those who suffer with fibroids can experience pain, prolonged heavy menstrual cycles, and even anemia. Experts say women should learn to recognize when something may be wrong.
If you can't go to work, if you can't go out with your friends, if you're nervous about too much bleeding when you go out, those can be red flags that something else is going on, and you should go to your doctor and get evaluated for fibroids.
A Harris poll finds 53% of women diagnosed with the condition reported being offered a life-altering hysterectomy. Only 20% were offered other less invasive options. Experts say it's important women have informed conversations with their doctors. That includes their life goals.
First alert weather day due to showers and thunderstorms moving through the area. Some small hail and brief gusty winds, let alone very heavy downpours with this line moving through at this hour. See approaching Pikeville, moving through Hazard now, extending just to the northwest of Middlesboro and to around Monticello. Here's a closer look at it. Look at all of the lightning from Monticello through Williamsburg, Barberville, up through Hazard, and extending northeastward to Inez. We'll drop right in on this line, show you the heavier storms here towards Prestonsburg, Inez, and Paintsville. You extend down to Royalton, south and eastward right here through Hazard. Those thunderstorms really pounding through with very heavy rainfall, and still light rainfall back through Jackson, extending through Burning Springs and Sturgeon and Manchester. And then the storms pick up once again through Corbin and just south of London, through Livingston, and you extend all the way back westward from there to around Somerset and Monticello. So it's a wet morning in the area now. We'll see more showers and thunderstorms for later on this afternoon, as our high temperatures will warm up into the upper 80s. More on the full forecast coming up.
Mace, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. When we return, the Hindman Settlement School is working to archive its documents in a safer way after the flooding in 2022.